Well, good day, viewers, and welcome to Noel's Garden Tractors and Firewood. And look at that nice blue sky. A little cool this morning. I think it was -3 when I seen it first this morning. But it's supposed to get up to 5 degrees, I think, today. And good morning, tractors. Look at that. Look at all them tractors. Oh, there's that cab again. I'm going to have a talk with that fellow. Morning, tractors. And today is Wednesday, April 10th. Boys, oh boys, the time is going by. It just seems like it was just yesterday. It was April 1st. As the time flies by. My aunt always said, she's gone now, but she always said, the older you get, the faster time goes. And holy cat, she was right. Anyway, 1 degree now at the moment. And yeah, it's supposed to get up to 5 degrees and sunny today with a very light wind. And then tomorrow's 9 degrees. That's not quite so bad either. But rain all weekend, of course. But temperatures are going to be pretty good. So, and next week is reasonable. Anyway, so we have, what do we have here for? I'd say, what am I going to guess? 33 degrees Fahrenheit. Yeah, let's look at that. I was right. And 7 mile an hour west-northwest wind. So don't really feel any wind when you're outside. And 11 kilometers an hour. So there is our weather for today. So that's not so bad. I still got the fire on here because it's only, what is it? Yeah, it's only 47 degrees in here. That's too cold for this old fella. So we got the heat on. Heat is on, and today's goings on is going to be back at this Kohler engine. So I'm hoping to have that flywheel on today over on this side, and could be a variety of things go on here today, and it might not be anything, so, but it might be a good day. I don't know. It's hard to know until you get going. Yeah, so I got to get some bits and pieces off of this engine. I got to get this and this. I already have that. And I already have the flywheel cover. There's a piece over here I may need. There should be a top cover for here somewhere. And that's what I'm going to try and get at today. And I may put those engine mount brackets on the engine. And we got to get that on the engine. That's to go to the drive shaft. Our air filter components don't necessarily need that right away. But anyway, I guess that's about it for now. That'll keep me busy. And once I get a few things on here, I got to get this on and get the timing set. So I've got to have the coil on and battery power hooked up, I think. Like I said yesterday, today is going to be a lot of sinking day. So that's going to be hard on my old brain, that's for sure. And we've got to get that cover on and the dipstick on. Lots of things to do. And once we get to a point where we might be able to get it started, at some point I've got to clean up all the junk. And then somehow fasten that engine to the bench, because you do not want to start that thing without it tied down somehow. That thing would just bounce itself all around and right onto floor at 118 pounds. So with it running on idle at that weight, it's just like a little bobcat, that thing was. You don't put your hands anywhere near it. Anyway, we'll shut you off for now, and as I get things moving along here, I'll bring you back. All right, we've made a little bit of progress here. Got the flywheel on and is torqued to 60 pounds. And then we have the adapter. Camera in the light, of course. The adapter here for the drive shaft that goes to the hydrostatic transmission. We have that on also, and all those bolts are torqued to 30 pounds. And I've been doing a little bit of thinking here on my timing. So I've got a meter hooked up. So what I did was I had marked that mark the other day on there. The light is in the. Try and do this maybe. Up a little bit, right about there, like that maybe. Sorry about the bouncing around here. Now, the mark, that mark right there, that's the long mark. I can get in here and show you. That long mark that I made the other day, right there, that's where the spark is supposed to happen. And you can see right there, that's where the S is for spark. Now the other white line is, if I can get everything lined up here, the shorter white line that's above the longer white line is where I figure about 22 to 23 degrees before top dead center is. The long white line that is lined up with the timing mark here now, this mark here, that is 20 degrees. So what I want the engine to do is to, instead of sparking there, I want it to spark there. So that means I'm a little bit advanced. So the spark happens sooner. The gaseous is lit sooner. And it will give it more time to burn all the fuel as it gets to the bottom of the stroke. If I said that right. So on this engine, I guess I might as well explain a little bit here about that. this engine is set at 20 degrees advanced. And that's where it stays. When it's idling, or if it's at 3600 or RPM or 2500 RPM or whatever, the spark always happens 20 degrees before top dead center. Most gasoline engines in cars, older cars, not today's cars, when they revved up, they increased the timing, advanced the timing for the car to run. It gives it more time to burn the fuel. And because it's running faster, everything happens quicker. So if you are late in timing, that's what causes overheating in your exhaust or in the engine. Because if you lit the gas when you're at, let's say, top dead center, right there, then at the bottom of the stroke, it would still be firing. And that puts, and of course at the bottom of the stroke, then your next stroke up is your exhaust. So that your exhaust then gets hot and the engine gets hot because you're putting out hotter than should be exhaust, is the way I get it. So, plus you lose power by being in late timing because you're not burning all the fuel. You don't get the full stroke of fuel being burnt. So having this lit before it gets to top dead center gives it more time to burn all the fuel, and the fuel will be all burnt by the time it gets to the bottom of the stroke, which gives you more power. So if you go a little bit more advanced, that kind of even, there's my point right there. I'm off just a hair. So yeah, you had them a little bit more advanced, and you get a little more power out of it because you're using up the full stroke. Now, if you go too far advanced, in other words, let's say over here, let's say for exaggeration purposes, well then your piston is not at the top dead center. So it is possible for when you go to start the engine that it would be hard to turn over because it's trying to fire before the piston is all the way to the top, but the momentum of the engine overcomes that and it keeps rolling in the right direction. But it makes it hard to do that sometimes. And what can happen is if you're too far advanced, it can light the fuel before it gets to the point where it can't, how am I going to say this? Anyway, it lights the fuel with the piston down too far, and it'll make the engine run backwards and kick back, in other words. So you've got to have, the timing's got to be pretty well right on, and in most cases where they set timing on cars, that's the general area of where everything works good. So I'm going to try and get that beep to happen instead of there. That's a little too far, I think. That could be 23 to 24, 24 degrees maybe. So I'm looking for right there, because I believe that's about 22 and a half. from what I could measure. Now, hopefully you all get something out of that, and hopefully it's right. Like I say, I'm not an expert by any means. So as I said, these engines don't have any advance or retard automatic system for changing the timing. There's no vacuum advance, there's no mechanical advance. The timing is set at the factory at 20 degrees, and that's where it's got to be. So the point setting on them is between 18 to 22 thousandths, with 20 thousandths being the normal place to set it. Now, I don't know if that 20 thousandths point setting is equal to 20 degrees above or before top dead center. I don't know if that's how that works or not. Anyway, over here, I've got my meter hooked up to a ground, and the other one hooked up to the point side. So you can get in here. Now, the points, even though they look closed at that point, they are open because there's no continuity. So I'll move this a little bit. There's the continuity. All right, where are we at here? All right, so I don't know if I explained that right or not. So at the moment, the points are open. Now they're closed. Now you can't see much difference there, can you? It's just, that's how it is. So once this goes past, then the points open and then shut again. And while the motor is rotating, it's charging the coil. And once the point's open again, then it discharges the coil and sends the spark to the spark plug. That is how that works. So. I think. There, you can just see that little movement there. Where the open and the continuity stops. So that's where spark would happen. Closed points. Open points. And you really didn't see much change there. Now this is, of course, can't be extremely exact because parts wear. Once the engine gets oil in it, there's going to be oil in between the plunger there that goes in and runs on the cam in there. So that is going to change stuff. And of course, speed, bumping back and forth and stuff like that. So I'm going to I think I'm going to leave it right there. I'd say that's probably 23 degrees right there. And I can always change it if it doesn't work right. So. but that's not a problem. So okay, so now we're going to take her to the full open, and we'll check the points with the feeler gauges. There we go with that. Oh dear me. Always something. Anyway, it still works. Ah, dear me. Sugar. All right, we'll check the points at that point there. It should be 21 or 22 thousandths, I would say. Now, if I can show you without something going haywire. Right, okay, there. You can see the gap there in the points now, so that's full open. It's going to be a long day. Now, when you check your points, just make sure there's no oils or anything on your feeler gauges. You don't want any contamination on the points. Now, let's see what we got here. See if we can get you in here without screwing something up. So that's a 20 thousandths gauge, so it's a little tiny bit loose there. We'll try a 21. $21 thousandths. Okay, we'll try 22. $22 thousandths. I'd say that's right on the money. All right, I'm going to take a break here now after all that, and so I do have the timing set on the engine now. All right, I'm back again. I had to have a little break. Sometimes you just gotta walk away from engine or whatever you're working on. Just take a few minutes break. Because I really didn't want to do any more. And there's an awful nice little hammer kind of close over there. So I figured I better get away from here for a little bit. Anyhow, not too much more done. I did do, what did I do? Oh, I just put the, I'll show you, I guess. I just put the points cover on. Now, see if I can switch you around here. Just hang on a second. There, just a couple of seconds. Look at that. Anyway, I secured the points, and I got the wire on the points, and it's secure. And I've got the gasket on, and I even got the two screws in the same direction. See that? Look at that now. Anyway, oh boy. So, I'm sitting here wondering what to say. I'm going to ramble, I suppose, so I might as well stop you again, and I'll get back to you a little bit later. So the next thing I'm going to try and do is go up to that other engine up there and see if I can get some tin work off of it. And I need to get the electric pulley that bolts to here and goes on to here. So that's the next step. So we're moving ahead a bit anyway. We got the flywheel on and the shaft drive thing on, and points are set, timing is set, everything is going ahead. So dinner time is coming up here soon, so I'll see what I can get done after dinner. Well, good afternoon. And here we are, still at this engine. And I'm getting tired. It seems the tin work is harder than doing the rest of the work, I think. Oh dear. Of course, you know, the tin work is all, let's see if I can knock this down here. The tin work is all 50 years old, so half of it's bent and half of it's cracked and half of it's broke and half of it's this and half of it's that. And like I say, you'd think these Kohler engines would all be the same, but they're not. Things sort of fit and they sort of don't fit, so you gotta maneuver things to get them to work, I guess. Anyway, I'll show you around here a little bit, and then that's going to be it for today. I'll have to switch you around here. Just hang on. There now, all switched around. So I got that piece off of the other engine, and I have it on here. It's certainly not there permanently. Anyway, so trying to figure out, what goes inside of what, and what goes inside or outside or under or over and all them kind of things. And so this is an original piece off of this engine, but this is not, and this is not. And This is not. And you can see there's different holes and different screws and fixed up things and broken stuff and things broke out of there, and a lot of it is due to the engine vibrations and shaking. And anyhow, I guess vibrations from using the engines. And now my main problem here is I got this kind of on here, and I thought, well, I better look and see and put the spark plug in. Well, the spark plug hole is here on this cover. The spark plug hole in the head is back here. So of course there's different heads, different years, and some are LP heads, and some are this head, and some are that head, and of course the plug position changes around. So anyway, I'm kind of at a point where I guess I'll have to go over to my son's and see if I can find the right top that was on this engine, or a different top that's got the hole back here maybe. I could just cut that out, but I don't like the idea of having too many holes in this, because then you're losing the air out of the top instead of coming out around the fins where it's supposed to be coming out. So I could cut that out, and I could bang that all down and then make a little something to put on the top and screw that down. Over here on the other engines, that's where the dipstick came through. The dipstick is going to mount out here and will be coming up about here. So it's got nothing to do with that hole. That hole, the dipstick would be coming up out of here. So I'd have to cover that hole up too, I guess. So, which I can do, but I kind of would rather find the right one if I can. And I might find the one with the hole in the right spot here, but may still have this hole. So, yeah, it's just yeah. Anyway, that's what I'm running into. I think I'm just going to call her a day, and I'll go to my son's place tomorrow and see what I can find. There's the muffler. That broke there. That piece I showed you there of the aluminum, which was broke all along. I didn't break it. I had it fixed up so it was solid. And what else is going on here? There's the other engine, see? I don't know, it just seems kind of odd. Anyway, that's what I'm running into. That's what I'm running into. I was going to take this plug out of here and put it in that head, but then I found I couldn't put it in. Anyway, yeah, you can kind of see with these two heads here. You know, I've got light on here. I'll put some light on it. This plug, I can do this here. kind of see the distance between this hole and the plug is different than the distance between this hole and this plug hole. Shorter here. Shorter or longer there. Now the other thing I could do is just take the head off and replace the head and put this head on, I guess, but damn it, I don't know. Might be able to get a better look at it this way. Oh dear, it's certainly time to get rid of all this old junk and call it a day, I think. There, as you can see, the head is basically all the same, but where the spark plug is different. And there is a reason for that, but I can't remember what it is. Now, there's different heads, and I remember seeing a site, I think it's probably Brian Miller, maybe. He's right into this pulling and rebuilding these engines. He's down in the States, I think, somewhere. I think he's got a section on these heads as to why they are the way they are. So there seems to be a little more space in this area on this one, and not so much on this one. This head would actually give more compression. Some heads don't have this dip in them, which gives more compression. And some heads have bigger valves than others. The Kohler, the 14, the older engines had a small exhaust valve, and the newer engines had a little bigger exhaust valve. So that could be why this is the way it is to allow for the bigger exhaust valve, because this is the exhaust port here. Anyway, it's all guessing on my part. Look, if you're doing this every day and at it all the time, you'd know it. So, I don't know. I might just take that head off and see. I might look at that. Anyway, there you go. That's it for today. And we shall see what happens tomorrow. Tomorrow's going to be sort of a reasonable day, so I might go wood cutting. I might. Doesn't mean I will. Just I might. Nice and sunny out today. I think it's probably 5 or 6 degrees. Anyway, that's going to be it for now. Here I am rambling along, and I thought it was going to be a quick clip, this one, but have a good day wherever you're at and whatever you're doing. Goodbye now.